Babies. Loved by many, but disliked by me. Nonetheless, they are the topic of today's video. Hello, and welcome back to Censor's Corner, where today we will be talking about an essay written by Jonathan Swift and published in October 1729 in Dublin, Ireland. This essay is entitled A Modest Proposal for Preventing the Children of Poor People from Being a Burden to Their Parents or the Country and Making Them Beneficial to the Public. Let's begin. I'm going to present this in a pyramid style. Worst at the bottom, best at the top. At the bottom of the pyramid, we have a modest proposal. A modest proposal has Jonathan Swift making some calculations about the amount of children he deems that are not useful to society due to them being the children of poor people. He then suggests that the rich people actually eat those kids, both as a food source and as a way to stimulate the economy. Ultimately, he does not believe this. However, he is using this shock value in order to draw attention to the economic crises that are happening in Ireland. Next on the pyramid is Jonathan Swift. He belongs here because he is also a repeat offender because he wrote Gulliver's Travels, which was banned in some countries. He also wrote a numerous amount of pamphlets that talked more about the economic crises that were happening in Ireland. Originally, he was actually from England. However, when his political party was no longer having the best position, he decided to self-exile over to Ireland, where he then kind of wrote more information in support of Ireland. Next on the pyramid is Ireland. Now, during this time, Ireland was facing numerous amount of economic crises because they were funding partially some of the British and American expanses into other territories, as well as they were experiencing a famine during the late 1720s. Next on the pyramid are the intended audiences, one of which could be the British government, as he was part of the political parties and had some influence and later talked bad about the British government, which I will detail later. Another intended audience were Irish citizens, because at one point Jonathan Swift kind of urged people to follow certain things with the use of irony, such as only using domestic products. Next up is a possible intended audience of the Anglo-Irish Protestant ascendancy. They were having a parliament meeting a week after this was published, where they were going to discuss different budgetary issues in Dublin, also where this was published. Next on the pyramid is England. I couldn't find much information on if they censored it. However, this line in particular that says, although perhaps I could name a country which would be glad to eat up our whole nation without it, is in reference to England. Now, they could have censored it because of that line, because they wanted to continue the expansion to other territories using the financials of Ireland. Hence the possibility of it being censored, but I'm unsure exactly if it happened. And at the top of the pyramid is me, because I'm the censor. There's one line in particular that stands out that says, I rather recommend buying children alive and dressing them hot from the knife. This in itself is a very grotesque imagery to have to read. He also at one point suggests that babies should have their skin used to make leather and purses, along with 12 to 14-year-olds being able to make up for the venison shortage. This in itself is just frankly cruel and grotesque to read, hence why it should also be not only censored, but banned. And here are my works cited. After taking a few minutes, here are my final thoughts on Jonathan Swift's essay. As always, thank you for watching. I think it's time for some dinner. Now, where'd I put that baby?